The episode begins on Galvin Prime. Maya approaches Azimuth with information on a prior night's break-in. Maya informs Ultimatrix was the only item taken. She also says that Albedo was the one who committed the theft. Albedo eats chili fries in a cave on Earth while finishing the Ultimatrix under the supervision of Vilgax, but is unable to change into a Galvin due to the form not being enabled on the Ultimatrix's playlist, which is synced with the Omnitrix. Albedo believes that if he can get the original Omnitrix, he will be able to reset the Ultimatrix. Vilgax offers to assist him in recovering the Omnitrix from Ben Tennyson, while claiming he no longer desires it. Meanwhile, a spaceship piloted by Gwen and Kevin follows an alien spaceship in search of Ben, who has been kidnapped by the bounty hunter Crab. Gwen and Kevin infiltrate the ship and liberate Ben, who changes into Big Chill. The ship's autopilot is broken in the ensuing battle, and it crashes into an asteroid field. Gwen constructs a massive mana barrier to defend the ship from asteroids, but when it fails, Ben orders everyone to return to the ship and depart. He transforms into Jet Ray, attempting to destroy an oncoming asteroid. He is defeated, and Crab's spacecraft is destroyed. Ben returns to the ship believing Crab has died, but Gwen and Kevin reveal that they saved Crab at the last minute. Kevin brings Gwen and ship to Julie's place to study, and he visits Ben, who is watching a sumo slammers marathon. Kevin soon becomes bored and leaves. As Kevin is traveling through the neighborhood, he is assaulted by Albedo, who turns into Diamond Head and destroys Kevin's vehicle. Kevin and Albedo briefly spar, but Albedo easily overcomes him and takes him back to his lair, stopping for some chili fries on the way. Vilgax informs Albedo that without his companions, Ben is defenseless, and they can defeat him by separating him from his friends and fighting him, which will allow Albedo to regain the Omnitrix and Vilgax to conquer Earth. Gwen contacts Ben, wondering where Kevin is since he was supposed to meet her an hour ago. Gwen discovers Kevin's wrecked automobile while walking home, which is being investigated by the police, and retrieves a shard of Diamond Head from it. After leaving the accident scene, Gwen is attacked by Albedo, who transforms into Swampfire and knocks her unconscious. Max is also attacked by Albedo, a spider monkey, in the rust bucket too, but escapes. Max then arrives at Ben's home to warn him about Albedo. Seconds later, Albedo appears on Ben's TV, revealing that he has captured Gwen and Kevin. Max cautions Ben not to fall for the bait, but Ben rushes out to face Albedo. Albedo and Ben clash at the entrance to Albedo's lair, both transforming into Humongosaur. Albedo reveals to Ben that his Omnitrix isn't a clone, but rather the Ultimatrix, which incorporates an evolutionary mechanism, allowing him to transform not only into what Ben can, but also into an evolved form. Albedo activates the Ultimatrix, transforming into Ultimate Humongosaur, a evolved version. In this form, Albedo easily overcomes Ben, but Vilgax enters with an army of synthetic bioids and instructs Albedo to let Ben live for the time being. He then orders Ben to give up the Omnitrix in exchange for Gwen and Kevin's lives. Ben removes the Omnitrix to rescue his comrades rather than himself and offers it to Vilgax, who chuckles evilly at his achievement. Max arrives and repels Vilgax and his bioids before handing over Gwen's spellbook, which she uses to transport the team away. As Ultimate Humongosaur, Albedo demands that Vilgax hand over the Omnitrix as per their agreement, but Vilgax refuses and instead wears the Omnitrix. Vilgax discloses that his bioids have blank DNA synced to the Omnitrix, and when he activates it, all of his bioids turn into the chosen alien form. Vilgax mutates his bioids into an army of Humongosaurs, which attack Albedo. Despite defeating hundreds of them, Albedo is finally overpowered when the Ultimatrix runs out of power, and Vilgax captures him. From a plumber surveillance camera in the rust bucket, the crew witnesses Albedo's defeat. Ben loses hope, blaming himself for losing the Omnitrix to Vilgax, and angrily instructs Max to stop the rust bucket before fleeing into the woods. Kevin decides to abandon Ben, arguing that saving the world is not a job for quitters, while Gwen scolds him for abandoning their friend. Max advises Gwen and Kevin to give Ben some time, but Gwen refuses and follows him into the wilderness. She gives him his jacket, but Ben refuses, insisting it belongs to a hero. Even when Gwen reminds him of all the times he's helped people without the Omnitrix, Ben is convinced he's nothing without it. Gwen leaves, expressing her belief in Ben, who begins to reflect on what to do next. Ben, unable to give up, appeals to Azimuth for help, Azimuth appears and informs Ben that the Omnitrix was originally meant for Max, but Ben was allowed to wear it because he was a near genetic match due to being Max's grandson. Just as Ben expresses regret, Azimuth reveals that Max persuaded him to let Ben keep the Omnitrix because of Ben's boldness and creativity, with or without the Omnitrix. However, Azimuth also chastises Ben for disobeying his orders and hacking the Omnitrix. Ben doesn't protest, but instead recalls how he transformed Kevin into a monster and asks Azimuth how to fight Vilgax. Azimuth observes that it is difficult to win without the Omnitrix, to which Ben agrees. This sparks an idea and revitalizes him. He returns to the rust bucket claiming to have a plan. Meanwhile, on Vilgax's spacecraft, Vilgax prepares his invasion of Earth, and the imprisoned Albedo mocks him. Vilgax immediately surrounds Ben's squad with his bioids, turning them into Diamond Head, Lodestar, and Spider Monkey. Ben orders Vilgax to hand over the Omnitrix, but Vilgax mockingly refuses. In response, Ben activates the Omnitrix's voice command mode and sets it to self-destruct in 30 seconds. Vilgax, assuming Ben is bluffing, converts his bioids into Swampfire to eliminate Ben and the squad. Moments later, the Omnitrix self-destructs, knocking Vilgax unconscious and permanently deactivating his bioids. As Ben discovers the Omnitrix's remnants, Kevin experiences a severe headache and reverts to his normal form since the Omnitrix was what had maintained his altered state. Overjoyed, Gwen kisses Kevin on the lips for the first time. Vilgax regains consciousness and destroys the Chimera Hammer's console, causing the ship to collide with Bellwood. Gwen and Kevin realize that the ship's fusion drive will destroy the city and everything within a 100-mile radius. While Kevin and Max battle Vilgax to guide the ship away from Bellwood, Ben approaches the chained Albedo and offers to free him in exchange for the Ultimatrix. When Albedo refuses, Ben then orders the Ultimatrix to self-destruct, then he quickly surrenders the Ultimatrix, and Ben deactivates the self-destruct. Ben then transforms into Swampfire and rejoins Kevin in the struggle against Vilgax while Max and Gwen try to maneuver the ship away from Bellwood. Vilgax soon defeats Kevin, and Swampfire is overpowered when Vilgax points out that Ben is losing. In response, Ben changes into Ultimate Swampfire, launching a tremendous burst of blue flames at Vilgax. Meanwhile, Gwen and Max are unable to stop the Chimera Hammer from collapsing, but they manage to guide it away from the city and into the sea. The ship collides with the ocean and begins to sink, allowing Max, Gwen, and Kevin to escape. Vilgax shatters the glass on the Chimera Hammer, soaking the ship's interior, and reveals his true form, a massive squid-like creature. Vilgax attempts to consume Ultimate Swampfire, but Ben manages to escape by morphing into Jet Ray. Ben reunites with his comrades above the water, and they share a hug. Ben surmises that Vilgax has survived worse as they watch the bursting remnants of the Chimera Hammer and vows to destroy Vilgax if he ever returns. The episode ends with this.